Fire. Since the dawn of time, it has been our greatest ally and, paradoxically, one of our most primal fears. Fire warms, but it also destroys. It consumes flesh, leaving permanent scars and marks we carry to the grave. When we think of extraterrestrial contact, our minds usually drift to extremes, spiritual wonder, or the visceral trauma of forced abductions, encounters that leave scars, not remove them. I know, and we here at Alien Cases have explored this together, that many interactions with the unknown are painful. There are undeniable reports of physical and mental aftermaths left by unwanted visitors. But what if there is another side to this cosmic coin? What if, amidst the darkness of the unknown, there are hands or technologies reaching out to heal the incurable? Today, we dive back into the monumental work of tireless researcher Preston Dennett's The Healing Power of UFOs. We have arrived at Chapter 9. If you've been following our journey, you know we are unraveling, page by page, the evidence that these beings can intervene in our biology, not to harm, but to restore. In this dossier, we will focus on something rare yet documented: burns. We will see cases where charred skin was regenerated in seconds before stunned witnesses. We will visit the scorching California desert, cross the ocean to England, and enter phantom hospitals that vanish like mirages. Why would they do this? Are we, to them, like injured animals on the roadside deserving of pity? Or is there a greater purpose, a maintenance of the herd? If you missed the previous episodes of this incredible series, the links are pinned in the first comment. We have created an exclusive playlist for these cases. But now, kill the lights. What we are about to reveal might change the way you look at fire and the sky. Let's open Chapter 9. Injuries caused by UFOs are varied, but today our focus is singular: fire. Curiously, the history of ufology is rife with cases where witnesses were burned by radiation or beams of light from a craft. Ironically, it is much easier to find someone hurt by a flying saucer than someone cured by one. However, there are 5 accounts, 5 incredibly rare records that defy medical logic. And we begin with a case that possesses the holy grail of ufological evidence: medical proof, multiple eyewitnesses, and a legal document, a sworn affidavit. We travel back in time to early 1954. We are in the United States in the vast and arid Mojave Desert, California. This region, famous for its isolation and infinite skies, was experiencing a wave of sightings that attracted enthusiasts from all over the country. Among them was Carl Anderson, accompanied by family and friends. They formed a convoy of 3 cars, moving like pilgrims in search of the unknown, toward desert hot springs. Suddenly, something takes control. An invisible yet palpable force grabs the lead car. No driver could fight against it. The convoy was diverted, pulled 3 miles off-road toward the wild heart of the desert. There, they set up camp. That night, the desert silence was torn apart by a high-pitched hum. The group awoke, paralyzed. Sleep paralysis, maybe, but what they saw defied reality. Their tents and vehicles seemed to have become transparent. Through walls that should have been solid, they saw a shining silver disc, almost 65 feet in diameter, landed nearby. That was just the prelude. The true contact, the healing event, would occur a year later. On October 2nd, 1955, Anderson returned to the site, this time with his wife Stella and a friend, Jim Stewart. Again, the mysterious force guided their car like a toy, positioning them in the exact spot for the encounter. It was midnight. The desert was freezing, but the sky was about to catch fire. Anderson described the moment. The great ship was now only 200 feet above us. We could see three sphere-like objects on the outer rim, from which emanated a fluorescent light. The descent was aggressive. Stella, Anderson's wife, panicked and ran for the car. The ship, reacting to her fear, began to ascend rapidly, ready to leave. Jim Stewart, desperate not to lose contact, acted on instinct. He grabbed a road flare, the kind that burns with a ferocious chemical intensity, and lit it to signal the UFO. The ship's crew understood the message and descended again. But in the adrenaline of the moment, Stewart made a grave mistake. The chemical phosphorus from the flare touched his skin. He suffered a severe burn on his hand. The pain must have been excruciating. The smell of burned flesh mixing with the dry night air. It was then that the impossible happened. Seconds after the burn, the craft hovering over them emitted an intense, colorful glow. The light bathed Stewart, and instantly, the pain vanished. The ship disappeared shortly after, leaving behind a stunning silence and a perfectly intact hand. Stewart was so impacted that he filed an official affidavit. This is to certify that I, James R. Stewart, witnessed a huge object hovering over me in the California desert. I also had the strange experience of having a bad burn miraculously healed while this object was changing colors. A chemical burn cured by light. No scars, no recovery time, just new skin, as if the fire had never touched it.
Now we leave the American desert and cross the Atlantic to the city of Birmingham in the West Midlands, England. It is 1957. We meet Cynthia Appleton, a woman who experienced not one, but 4 direct contacts with an alien entity. Her description is fascinating and differs from the typical grays. The being was tall, over 6 feet, with pale skin, long blonde hair, and elongated facial features. He communicated via telepathy and spoke about the impossibility of open contact with humanity due to our wars. But the incident that interests us occurred in February 1958. During one of these meetings, something unusual happened. The alien himself got hurt. He accidentally burned his finger. Imagine the scene. A being of superior technology, vulnerable to heat, just like us. He asked Cynthia for hot water to bathe the finger. She obeyed. Next, the being used a tube to inject something into himself and spread a gelatinous substance over the burn. Before Cynthia's eyes, the wound closed. It healed miraculously. But here, the story gains physical proof. In the bowl of water Cynthia brought, a piece of the alien skin had sloughed off. Cynthia, sharp-witted, kept the sample. It was sent for analysis at the University of Manchester, examined under an electron microscope. The doctor's report to investigator Jenny Randalls was disturbing. The skin was not human. Its composition resembled that of an animal, but the doctor could not identify which species on Earth would possess that biological structure. He refused to go public. The fear of ridicule, or something bigger, silenced science. But the proof was there.
We flash forward to 1971, returning to California, this time to the coastal city of Laguna Beach. The protagonist is Dr. Fred Bell, a famous contactee who alleges interactions with Pleiadians. Bell and two friends were victims of a brutal attack, a pipe bomb explosion. The impact was devastating. Bell was thrown, lost consciousness, and woke up at Laguna Memorial Hospital. The diagnosis was terrible. His left hand, shoulder, and neck were severely burned. He had a skull fracture, and bruises covered his body. Alone in the cold hospital room, Bell felt something strange. He was wearing a necklace, an object he called a receptor, supposedly a gift from his extraterrestrial contacts who had promised him protection. The necklace began to heat up. Bell described a wonderful energy flowing from the object into his destroyed body. In minutes, not weeks, minutes, the pain ceased. His friends, who were visiting the room, watched in disbelief. The next morning, the hospital doctors were in shock. A doctor confronted Bell. "This is impossible. You have no trace of the severe burns. There is no more evidence of a skull fracture. And all those bruises, where do they go?" The physician was so disturbed that he accused Bell of faking the injuries, ignoring the admission reports from the night before. Human science had no filing cabinet for that miracle. Weeks later, Bell took a group of friends to an isolated spot near his home in Laguna. A large metallic disc appeared, swooping down and releasing sparks, confirming to the witnesses Bell's protection came from above.
Not every burn involves fire or explosions. The sun, our nearest star, can also be a cruel enemy. In the late 1970s, Casey Clark, then 14 years old, was living in Las Vegas, Nevada. She went to spend the day at Lake Mead, the gigantic reservoir near the city. The Nevada desert sun is unforgiving. Casey suffered brutal sunstroke, first-degree burns all over her body and second-degree burns, blisters on her upper body. By 6 p.m., she was in thermal shock, alternating between chills and sweats. Casey, who had reported spiritual and UFO experiences since childhood, lay face down knowing she needed to escape that pain. She entered a deep meditative state. Her consciousness left her physical body. She went somewhere else. When she woke up the next morning, the bed wasn't soaked in sweat or fluid from the blisters. Casey writes, "I woke up completely healed. No burn, no fever, no blisters, no peeling. Just an even, deep, dark tan from head to toe." For Casey, this was routine. She believes she is monitored and repaired by these beings throughout her life, often taken astrally into ships for adjustments. Continuous biological maintenance. We arrive at our final case, perhaps the most bizarre of all, occurring in the early 1990s. An anonymous family was traveling through a remote area of the desert in the American Southwest. The heat was infernal. Their car overheated. The father, in a common but dangerous mistake, opened the radiator cap while the engine was still hot. The boiling water exploded. The driver's hand was cooked instantly. The family, in a panic, bandaged his hand and raced toward the nearest town. But in the middle of nowhere, in the vast, empty desert, they spotted something impossible: a hospital. Desperate, they stopped. The man went inside. The interior looked like a normal clinic. A nurse attended to him. She didn't ask about insurance or ID. She just held his wrist and sprayed a gelatinous substance over the burn, reminiscent of the Cynthia Appleton case in England decades prior. The substance formed a second skin.
The nurse instructed, "Do not wash the hand, you will be fine." They returned to the car and continued their journey. When they reached the town, the hand was healed. The pain had vanished. The realization finally hit them, a modern hospital in the middle of nowhere. They decided to go back to thank them or investigate. They drove back along the exact same route. The building wasn't there. There was only sand and brush. The MUFON investigator who handled the case was perplexed. Why would aliens create a holographic projection of a hospital to heal a human? Why the theater? Similar cases, like Kathy Davis in the book Intruders, suggest they use screen memories or projections to keep us calm. For the injured father, seeing a hospital was comforting. Seeing a spaceship might have caused a heart attack.
5 stories, 5 scars that never formed. As we analyze these accounts from Chapter 9 of Preston Dennett, a disconcerting pattern emerges. The injuries vary: chemical, thermal, solar. But the intervention is precise and often incomprehensibly benevolent. This brings us to a philosophical crossroads. If they have the technology to regenerate tissues instantly, to erase the damage of fire and radiation, why are these cures so rare? Why heal Jim Stewart in a desert, but let thousands of others suffer in similar accidents? Are we part of a long-term experiment? A herd that needs to be kept healthy only up to a certain point? Or is there, amidst the coldness of the cosmos, a genuine compassion we do not yet comprehend? These burn cases represent only a fraction of the mystery. What comes next, in Part 2 of the book, which we will explore soon, is even more unusual. Cures for minor illnesses, colds, headaches, simple infections. Why would a being travel light years to cure a flu? The answer might lie in the idea that, for them, no failure in our biological system is insignificant. And now I pass this torch to you, investigator of alien cases. What does your intuition say about today's report? If you were alone in the desert, injured, and saw a hospital rise from nothing, would you go in? Or would the fear of the unknown be greater than the pain of the burn? I want to read your theories in the comments. And remember, every like you leave on this video is a signal flare to the YouTube algorithm. It's like that flare in the desert. It shows you want us to continue this exploration, that you want more translated and investigated cases. If you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe now and ring the bell. We are building the internet's largest community of open minds. I am the architect of enigmas. Look to the sky, but beware the fire. Until the next file.